Participant observation is a form of an observational measure, sometimes used in HDFS. Participant observation is different from the other ones we'll talk about in that the unit of analysis, the thing that's really being studied here is the culture sharing group rather than it being the individual subjects. It's a way of getting some insight into group processes and how a group operates. In order to do this, the scientist becomes part of the group to observe it. They don't just watch the group from the outside, they become a member of the group. Now, they don't necessarily do that secretly. Typically, the subjects, the members of the group, know that is a scientist who is studying us, but still, they take a role in the group and ask questions, and they interact with people during the course of their observations. Let's look at a couple of examples. Most kind of famously and originally, Margaret Mead really introduced this form of observation to science, and she was an anthropologist, but she was studying human development. She went to the island of Samoa to study what adolescence looked like there, and she explicitly compared adolescence in Samoa to adolescence in the United States. And what she found is still being both debated vigorously and deeply considered in terms of its meaning for our understanding of adolescence. She discovered that in Samoa, adolescence is a time of calm. It is not a time of storm and stress, which we think of it in the United States. She found that it was a peaceful and relaxed time, a time when those Samoan teenagers had quite a lot of freedom and did not experience a lot of conflict or emotional turmoil. A more contemporary example is this study that was published in 2017 using participant observation to see how toys are played with in a preschool classroom. These scientists went into a very diverse classroom. I believe this was in Toronto. Recently, this area had been subjected to legislation that required that preschool classrooms have racial diversity represented in the dolls and the books and the other kind of materials in preschool classrooms. So these scientists went in, and one of the things they did was use participant observation in the classroom. So they went in as as teachers, they went in a teacher role. They interacted with children. They don't just stand on the sidelines and watch, but they participate with the children in the classroom, and they recorded incidents that occurred around for instance, the baby doll. So this is an episode that one of the scientists recorded. She describes being with two children playing in the dramatic play area with dolls. So one is holding a white baby doll, the other is holding a black baby doll, but rummaging through a set of toys or basket, trying to find another white doll. As soon as she finds another white doll, she rather unceremoniously just drops the black baby doll on the ground and starts playing with the white doll. So these two little girls lay the babies on the table and pretend to feed them, and they rather pointedly ignore a black baby doll that happens to be in the same space. Occasionally, the observer interacts with the children. You see here about midway down that paragraph, she points to the black baby doll and asks, why is that baby sleeping by herself, when the two kids had put the white baby dolls together when they put them down to sleep. And the child responds, she didn't fit. So they're recording a clear preference among these children for the white baby dolls. And this is an observation she is getting. It's not really about Sarah and Ruby, these two girls. It's about what is happening in the classroom being the culture sharing group that she is studying. Participant observation is hard to do. It requires a lot of training, expertise, and skill. It may require a lot of preparation. Margaret Mead spent months learning the language before she went to Samoa, and then she spent many more months immersed in the culture she was studying. You have to build relationships before people feel comfortable talking to you and playing normally when you are watching them. So these kind of things take time, and they take a lot of skill on the part of the scientist to be able to observe and also ask questions, but not dominate the environment, but also have be able to elicit responses and trust of the people that you're studying. So this is an incredibly difficult kind of research to conduct. Those scientists, part of the reason it's so difficult is they go in very broadly focused. Remember, they're studying a culture sharing group, so they're not pinpoint focused on a particular variable. They're kind of getting the context. Context is a very big part of this. One of the strengths, therefore, of participant observation is that it is deeply contextual. They are going in and reporting out on not just very specific behaviors, but also the context in which those behaviors emerge. Very often that means the reasons why they emerge. They include subjective perspectives because in addition to participating, in addition to observing, they're also participating. So they get some insights into why certain things are happening, and they ask while they're there. Why is this baby sleeping somewhere else? So they ask questions, and they are able to tap into the subjective perspectives of the participants. This is something that's not possible with other forms of observation. All observations, however, including participant observation, are limited by the fact that reactivity. People may act differently when you're watching than they would when you're not. So that's always there. In participant observation, that can be minimized by the length of observation. If they spend a long time, the reactivity will eventually disappear because people can't really keep up pretenses very long. But participant observation, like other forms of observation, includes the risk of observer bias, that they go in and they observe things that perhaps they thought they would have observed, and they might see what they expected. It's very hard to observe things without those filters. In fact, if you're doing participant observation, you certainly don't want to eliminate your filters. The filters are what's going to make this interesting and give you insights. But that introduces the risk that you will see only what you wanted and not see other things. That's always true with observation, and it's certainly true with participant observation. Specific to participant observation is we're not sure how generalizable these observations are, because they are so deeply contextualized and built into one particular small environment, one particular classroom in a preschool, for instance, or one particular island in the South Pacific with a small number of teenagers who are active and welcome you into their group. These are small groups and may be particular to that small environment, and the results may not be generalizable. We just don't know. So it's questionable, and that is a limitation of participant observation. Given that, I would say that participant observation is appropriate when the question being asked is one of insight that is cultural or social in nature.